Hi everyone, did you miss me? I'm back again on your screen. Your favorite dose of all the legal electoral issues. Hey, yeah. I'm back again. This time around it is APC's reply. Now, I know it's not getting as much attention as when Peter Obi filed the petition, the election petition, but guys, did you see that reply? Welcome to my channel. It is Obehi and the Law. If you're just joining me, I say welcome. And if you have been joining me, I say welcome again. I am back. And this time, like I said, it is APC's reply. Guys, did you see that reply? First of all, let me give a bit of a lecturing because we need to understand stuff. Now, when a person files an election petition, it takes 21 days after the announcement of the election results for whoever is contesting the veracity or the validity of such results to file an election petition. 21 days and no minute later than 21 days. Now, after that is done, the respondents, that's those who are going to be defending the veracity or the validity of that result, have 21 days to reply. That's to file their response or file in their defense. And then the petitioner who had earlier on brought that petition to the court has 5 days to reply. And then the case will now come up for hearing. That's where we will now have all of the evidence and stuff. Now, for the person who is going to be defending, or the respondents in this case, and to be more specific, when we're looking at APC, Tinubu, and every other person, these persons, they have two ways, or there are two things that will come up in court, or two patterns in which they would come up with their response. Now, there's one called preliminary objection, which I will explain, and then the other part, and one precedes the other, and in that particular order, we have the preliminary objection, and then we have reply on the merits. Reply on the merits of the case. Now, the preliminary objection is when you are challenging the validity of that election petition. When you are saying, oh, this election petition is fraudulent, like it's wrought with flaws, rather. You're saying, oh, according to the law, this does not, lack the requisite standing. For example, if that person does not have the local standard. Now, what is local standard? Local standard is saying you do not have the right to come in. Like this case, you are not even supposed to bring this particular petition because you don't have the right under the law to bring in that petition at all. That's what's called local standard. Or you're saying that the court does not even have jurisdiction to hear this matter. These are fundamental flaws. And see, if that preliminary objection is actually looked at and is upheld by the court, that case will not see the light of day. That's the end of the matter, because the rest of the case will now be thrown out. Everything else that has to do with that matter will be thrown out of the court, because if you don't have jurisdiction to hear that matter, how can we? It's just like, let me give an example. For example, someone is getting married, and then the father and the mother, they are alive, and then there's a friend somewhere who is claiming, oh, give me the bride price. That person does not have that local standard to collect bride price. It has to be the father or the mother, as in depending on the culture, majorly the father. You understand? Because they've got local standard, for introduction and everything else that can happen. So this is how it works here too. So let me dive in quickly to the reply of APC. They started with a preliminary objection, and they gave 4 grounds for that preliminary objection. And the first one, they said Peter Obi lacked the local standard to even bring in that case at all. They said because according to section 77 sub 2 and sub 3 of the Electoral Act 2022, that he is expected to have had his name registered in the Labour Party's list. the register 30 days before such submission to INEC, because INEC would ask you to submit, and that on the 30th of May, the register from LP was submitted to INEC, and as at 30th of April, Peter Obi was not a member of that particular party. So, but you know the funny part and the amazing part on this ground? I think earlier on, that same court, which is the Court of Appeal, the appellate court, had already ruled, saying that it is, in fact, they referred to that law as a humbug. You know, they had given an earlier ruling on this case that, oh, it's a humbug law, and that it cannot even work. You know, that particular section of the law cannot even work, like it was thrown out. You understand? On the basis that they refer to it as a humbug law. It does not make sense. Because if the party has accepted you and they have brought forth your name to INEC as a 30th, then what's the point? Like, what are we arguing about? What is it that, oh, because it was not there 30 days before? You understand? So the Court of Appeal, so I don't know why, and you know the painful part, you know, normally when you're writing an exam, you try to bring in your first, as in you bring in your superlative answers first, your tough answers, your intelligent answers. So if this is the first ground to this particular court and they had ruled earlier against such submission, then what are we doing in court? And then the second ground, let me not even waste your time, they said since he came third, that's Peter Obi, in the election, that he failed to join the appropriate parties. That's after joining INEC, Tinubu, and APC, he would have joined as well PDP and Atiku Abubakar. That he failed to join them, and so the case was already dead on arrival. Remember, this is just preliminary objection. But then again, how can Atiku defend second position that is even saying he's not even involved? Now, if you have seen my video last week, I talked about Atiku's reply, and I still saluted again. We know we've got intelligent lawyers, and their arguments were very sound and profound. Again, I would say, Gadzama, well done, sir. You know, will he come to court and come and defend what he does not even want? Do you understand? Because they are even claiming that we did not take second, we came first. So why would he join them when they are equally instituting a case against you guys, saying that we did not come second, we came first? So there was no point joining that party at all because he came third. You don't have to join a party you have no business with, because they are not interested in second position. So what are they joining them for? So I don't know what the lawyers of APC they are doing, but they've collected their money. And then the third ground, they said that you keep saying that the electoral process was wrought with fraud, it was filled with a lot of malpractices and all of that. But they said it was too generic. There was no specificity. So because of that, like, you're supposed to give us like the particular codes, the polling units, you know, there were no specific particulars pleaded. But you remember that there was actually a very big problem when Peter Obi had to go to court earlier on to seek an injunction to tell INEC, allow us to inspect these materials. And even after that injunction, even after it was given, even after it was granted by the court, they still did not allow them that opportunity and that time to go and check. So even if, I mean, to a good extent, maybe Peter Obi may have gotten those particulars and those, you know, specific areas, even though they may not have gotten everything, but they may have gotten some. I'm sure it will be very important for us to go into the full hearing of the case on the merits and then discuss and then admit evidence. Why bring it up now? It's too early, I think. You understand? So I don't think that's enough ground. Like, it's funny already. I'm not the judge. I am not the people who would make the decision. I'm not the appeal court. But I feel that, you know, there are some things you should think before. Is it that must you reply? If you don't have anything to reply, just... The fourth one is that the court lacks the requisite locus standi or the jurisdiction to hear that matter. the court does not have that jurisdiction because it's a pre-election matter, and pre-election matters are brought before the Federal High Court. And this is with reference to Shettima's candidacy. They stated that, oh, but if you look at it, you are equally bringing a pre-election matter, saying that Peter Obi is supposed to be 30 days in the register. Is that not a pre-election issue? So those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. And again, beside that, I think that Shettima's issue is even deeper than what we know. But as always, we would leave it to the court to decide. What does the court want to do with that? So I don't want to go too deep into Shettima because everything would become a pre-election issue. Because if you look at the fact that Ahmed Tinubu even contested, it's a pre-election issue. Because INEC is supposed to do their background check to follow the rules and make sure that a presidential candidate is devoid of anything that has to do with fraud or anything that has to do with anything that will contravene the rules, to be fair. They need to be sure of that. But that did not happen. It never did happen. A man who has got dual citizenship, a man who has been convicted of trafficking narcotics in the past in the USA. So there are so many things. So let's not even go into pre-election issue. We will not have anything to discuss when we get to court, to be fair. So I don't know what APC lawyers did, but then again, it's all good and fine. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming along. And I would say do have a wonderful time. It is me again next week, and I'll be dropping another one. So have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.